Good evening, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to tonight's episode of the Dog Tag Diva podcast. We have our special guest with us, Lainie Mingioni MBA, MSN, RN, joining Lauren and myself tonight. Welcome, Lainie.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for taking the time. I know how busy you are.
Of course. For you, anything.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Lainie?
Okay, well, I've been a nurse for almost 30 years. Predominantly, I start off in the city doing neurosurgery at Pennsylvania Hospital, and then after that, I worked at Crozier Chester Medical Center. I was an ER trauma nurse, level 2 trauma center for 15 years. I did a bunch of everything there, like precepted, was in charge of that. And then I said, okay, I need a little bit of a change. So then I worked interventional radiology, cardiac cath lab, electrophysiology in like succession. And then I would moonlight in the SPU and PACU. I kind of just did everything. And then about 2017, one of my physician friends had asked, they needed a manager for the GI center. And I said, all right, fine. I mean, I did everything else. That would just close the loop. And, I had wanted to go back to grad school. I graduated college in 96, and there weren't a lot of opportunities at that time that were about. Like now, it's all about, your advanced degree, nurse practitioner, nurse anesthetist, thus and such, your DNP and all. And so I knew I wanted to advance my degree, my knowledge. And when I took on the position at this center for the GI, I was like, I knew right away within like a couple months, I'm like, I know exactly what I want to do. And I am a very business oriented person, very financially savvy. So I went back and got my master's in nursing and also then got my MBA. So which I'm hoping to get back to. I used to do a lot of activity, triathlons, racing, half marathons. So that's my goal, to get back to that. Have 3 children, a husband, and yeah, we're busy.
Yeah.
And your daughter just graduated nursing school.
Yes, my daughter just graduated nursing school, took her boards, passed her boards. She starts, I know, I'm so excited. Mid-September, she starts at CHOP in the PICU.
Oh, wow. That's my old stomping ground.
Yeah, oh, is it? That's awesome. Yeah.
One of the reasons I brought it up.
She's really, she's really excited. She did an externship last summer there, and they offered her a full-time job in fall of her senior year. So, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, she's a good egg. Yeah, she's excited.
Yeah.
Large unit, she'll learn a lot. But yes, that is my old stomping grounds for sure.
That's awesome.
So talk about the MBA for a minute, because I really do have a lot of respect for nurses who go back and get their MBA. A friend of mine tried to get me to go back with him about 10 years ago. And I was like, you can get the hell out of here with that nonsense. So bless your little heart for getting an MBA.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, first of all, with whatever stage you are in your life, after you go through it, you go, how the hell did I do that? Like, I don't know how I had the time, the energy. The time I started 2018. It was like May of 2018. I did summer 1. And I went summer 1, summer 2, fall 1, fall 2, spring 1, spring 2. Oof. Summer 1, I'm like, I need a break. So after that, the summer 2s. And I did the dual track. So I did my master's in nursing first, and you could have done whatever, but I wanted to do that first because I'm a nurse. So it's a little easier to transition in. And then I was not a business major in college. So 2 of my 5 classes qualified for my MBA for my undergrad, but I still had to take economics, finance, and accounting. Yeah. And then did my MBA portion. And you could not, there's one nursing, which is like your thesis, that you could not do until you're done everything. And then you do this, then you graduate, right? Well, the best part was, and this, I talk about advocacy, right? Because this all goes into it. Doesn't matter if you're a nurse or whatever. So I started the program, blah, blah. I remember 2019 fall 2, I took fall 1, I took economics. That was my first undergrad. I was like, I hated economics initially. I was like, I don't know anything about it. And honestly, I didn't like, I knew, but like, I don't care, you know, things are expensive. That's all I know.
Right.
You know, and so, well, my teacher was really awesome. And I like being in the classroom. What was really cool was I was in a classroom with younger kids, right? So I'm like, oh, what are you guys talking about over there? Because everything they do now is there's no books, everything's online, everything's digital. I'm like, what the heck? And they're like, oh yeah, if you get the online, this, that, if you click this word, it'll go right to the page. And I'm like, all right, that's awesome. So like, I'm learning also from the youngins, right?
Yeah.
So economics opened my eyes to like, oh, that's actually not so bad. In fact, I use it almost every single day of my life now, right?
Wow.
Then I did and I tell you, fall of 2019, I'm now going into my under portion of my MBA. Now I got accounting to go into starting January. And I'd like to do the 7-week classes. And I'm like, what is this loading? The week 1, week 2, week 3 accounting. And I'm like, week 8, 9, 10. I'm like, oh no, I am not doing a 15-week class, right? This is starting January. Now, I'm going to backtrack a couple weeks. I was, I don't know, nominated, whatever. I was inducted into the International Honor, the Business Honor Society, right? So I go, and at each table, there's a teacher, and I love the lady that was with me. So just remember that her name was Jean. The other teacher that's really teaching really should just retire because she just used the program to like teach. I'd email, I'd questions. Okay, so accounting is one of those things you need multiple computers. These programs, if you mess up on one digital, you can't go back. And then, you know, me, I'm like a super anal, like I want 100. Yeah. Oh my gosh, these problems would take me like hours and you couldn't get out of the program. So I learned how to work smarter, not harder. COVID then hits. And I called the dean. I was like, I think I'm just going to stop my MBA. I said, this is not the kind of adult learning I want. You got to be interactive. And he's like, well, I said, I want to learn. I mean, I know accounting, but like, I want to learn. I don't want to fail. Your system sets you up to fail. I'm like, and the teacher's not responding and this and this and such. I care. I'm not a 20-some-year-old, you know, whatever, but I care whether you're 20-some or 40-some at the time. He's like, okay. Don't drop out. He's like, how about, because I had the finance class that I had to do at the same time I was doing accounting. And that was a master's class. Like I upped it, you know, whatever. He goes, how about you do a 1-to-1 with, how about with Jean? He did. I'm like, perfect. I'll do it. Right. So we get through. She's like, we started talking about accounting. I never realized that those questions took that long. My students must be cursed. I go, well, people need to advocate for themselves. Like sometimes you don't know, you just put it out there as a homework assignment. And meanwhile, they're like, so,
their hair out.
Yeah, exactly. So I get through that. Everything's great. Do my MBA. And I'll tell you, like, business analytics, that was a class. That was a hard class. But my teacher was wonderful. And like, I would email him, he's like, I can get on right now with you. And okay. So I'm like, okay, just go over it with me. And that was like quiz after quiz, all the classes, quiz after quiz after project after this. I'm like, holy moly. I'm not in class. I had to teach myself. So
which is bullshit, right?
Yeah, ridiculous.
I did want to interject though, because you were talking about the teachers. So what do you think the biggest difference is then between, so MBA is not nursing, obviously, like it's business administration in a way, right? So what do you think the biggest difference is between educators in business for your MBA versus educators in nursing?
You know, I'll be honest, because I had both tracks. And I think it boils down to not even what degree you have per se. I think it's really having a passion for what you do and you teach as a result of that passion. You know, my one teacher was great. And look, I tell my kids this all the time. I had 3 kids. My oldest, I had 3 kids, right? The oldest at the time I started going to grad school, I had one going to college, the second one going to college. I had a young one. We were traveling with sports. It was a lot. And I tell my kids this even now. And one of the reasons why also was a great timing is I wanted to show my kids that you're never too old. You got to continuously educate yourself and learn. And you don't have to educate yourself in like going back to college, but whether it's a trade or anything to keep your mind moving. And my one child is, you know, he's now going to be a second year in college, and he's going into business and like accounting and all that, right? And he used to say, Mom, you know, I'm like, oh God, I got to get 100. Like, shh, everybody get out of the kitchen. I got to do my quiz, you know, and then my tests. And he's like, you're just such an overachiever. Why do you care? Now he's like in like 8th grade. I said, you know what? I'm not an overachiever. You're just an underachiever. I said, and maybe you should care about what you know, it's seeing things a little differently. I care. This is what I like. You may not, and maybe one day now he does because he's in college, you know. But setting that example as well. So I will tell you, I tell them all the time, go to your teacher. My son plays Division I lacrosse, and the schedule's busy. He's busy with travel. I said, you have to establish yourself immediately. Hi, I'm Luke Mingioni, you know, like, I'm if there's any time, because I'm going to be away for travel, for lacrosse, blah, blah. Is there any time, you know, you'd be able to help me? So I know now. Always get ahead of it. Show that you care. And I say that the same back for the teacher. Show that you care.
That's a huge one.
You know, like I precepted. I used to teach, unofficially teach when I worked in the ER. But even when I'm working now, like when I worked in EP, and we all have something to bring to the table, but you have to be passionate about what you do. And if you don't, you're not in the right field. Obviously,
we have had long talks on that.
Long talks. And a lot of my business teachers were great. Like I'd be like, oh my God, John, because you'd be doing your quiz and you're like, what just happened? Like it just, the screen went blank. And I would text him right away. Oh my gosh, can you check in the, you know, yes, it's me. And he's like, all right, let me check. He's like, nope, you're all good. You can restart. I'm like, oh, thank goodness. You know, like those are the stressors, because
that e-learning is a whole different thing, man.
That's a whole different animal. Oh my God.
It took 4 classes to get like, okay, like just relearning now. But guess what? There was an APA 7. It's no longer APA 6. That was that for 20-some years.
Right. That
APA
alone changed.
I'm like, really?
Okay.
Like,
and can we just talk about for 1 second how useless that book is, by the way?
The most useless. Why did we never buy it?
Because no one cares about et al. I'm like, all right, there's more than 3. I'm like, Mingioni et al. I'm like, I don't even care. I'll take the hit on the reference, but you know.
And no one's ever asked me in an interview for me to reference what the fuck I'm saying. Oh, sorry. I forgot I can't say the F word.
And then you're like, and then you have to put it on, turn it in. And then it fact checks you. Well, of course, you're going to have all these hits if you're referencing from the article the right way. It's going to show back up with you. It's crazy. I don't know. Like but I will tell you, I loved my business analytics teacher. For a class that was really hard, he says to me at the end, he goes, you know, and he's from, I think he's from China. Like we were talking, I said, oh, so blah, blah. He goes, oh, my son's going to Penn State for engineering. And, you know, my mom's a foreigner. So I grew up with foreign tongue, you know, listening. And I said, oh my God, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. He goes, you know, he said something about a job opening. I said, he goes, I think I don't work with you, but I think you're probably a pretty great boss. I would love to work with you. If you ever have an opening, I'd love to work with you. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if are you sure? But he goes, yeah, I can tell you really care. And you're like on it, you know, so to speak. My husband's like, who are you talking to? Like about their life story. I said, well, you know me. I just, you know, I like people. I talk to them, but that's basically it. It's like, you have to be passionate. I had some nursing whatever's that I'm like, hello, are you going to answer any of you put the messages in like, oh, well, you're going to wait till Thursday to what, you know, grade it. Now I'll tell you what, here's where the challenge comes. The group projects. We're adults, right? So
the generational gap.
I was able, because of my job, I had a conference line. So I said, you know what? Let's dial into this. There was a lot of the young girls who had technical challenges. So I said, just dial in, blah, blah, blah. We'll get it done. We'll figure out one by one. You do this, you do that, blah, 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 blah. I like doing PowerPoints. I didn't mind doing that because I knew at least it would get done right. And I made it creative, but like, so we're doing this group project and we're emailing, we're texting back and forth, blah, blah, blah. Of course, being the administrator, I spearheaded it. Everyone give your phone number. Here's our numbers, da, da, da. Let's get on. Let's get it done at the door, right? So this one lady's, oh, okay, I'll get it. Okay. Oh, no, I can't do that. Da, da, da. I can only do this time. Okay, we'll do what works for you, right? She didn't get on, this and that. It's a hem and a haw and a this. We have the second project, a hem and haw. It's like, all right, I usually don't do this because at least I got my part done. We got a good grade, but I have an issue with legality and ethics. Okay. So
agree.
I emailed the teacher and said, hey, listen, just wondering how you grade these things. Like, cause being computer, they know when you log into your
right. System, right.
I said, we're a little challenged with one of our cohorts. I don't know if they're having, personal problems, but, we've asked her, we did this, whatever, for her at 7. She didn't show. I didn't show again. Perhaps maybe you could talk with her. Thus far, she hasn't contributed to the group. And at this point, she's not answering any of our emails or messages, right? So, with the roundabout way of saying, like, get her up. So basically, right. The teacher had emailed me back. I said, you don't have to give me any information. So the teacher did email me back. And she said, I want to thank you very much for bringing that to our attention, because I did call her. We talked and this and that. And I did see that she wasn't doing and I said, this is a master's prepared program where adults, this is higher level learning. Like, if you can't do it, then maybe this just isn't the right time for you. And that's okay. That's why there's drop ad periods,
Right.
So she's like, she's out of the program for now. But thank you. I want to, because I just don't think it's fair. What do? You gain nothing from that. Right. You waste everyone's time. And at the end, you have a degree that, like, you faked. You have other people,
right.
To me,
there's no real education on.
Yeah, like you don't have to be the best at it. You just have to grab one little piece of knowledge, from each.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the MBA, you get to learn a little bit of people. And there was one guy, it was funny. Like, it was like, we kind of knew, we were both like, let's get this done. But like, I was doing some stuff and he had, you can inbox each other. He's like, hey, I got to ask you first, can you be my partner? I said, yeah, I was going to ask you too. He actually, long short, we figured out way back when he used to work at Crozier. He was a medic. Then he went back to school with our PA.
Small world.
Yeah. So we would get our projects and it was great because we connected online, and that you just got to be forthright. You got to be.
Right. Well, yeah.
So the MBA, it wasn't easy, but again, whether I had nurses in my classes that, this is why I don't think people, when you're not a master at something, especially like anything, you really shouldn't just go right for your master's, because you have no data. You have nothing to talk about.
Correct.
No experience. Correct.
And this one girl was like, I don't have the kind of stories you have, like when we have our papers. I'm like, oh, honey, I don't think many people have the stories I have after working in the ER in Chester for 15 years.
Right.
Love my people, love them. But I mean, I did traumas, like gunshots, stabbings, you name it,
Well, let's actually migrate to the nursing aspect of all this. So why
don't we take a break and we'll come back and we will talk more about your career and nursing and all the joys that come along with that.
Yes.
In Chester.
In Chester. Oh, yeah. We'll be right back.
Yep.
Signed up to fight for freedom. What a price you had to pay. Picture in a helmet, missing family every day. Your Lady Liberty, dressed like G.I. Jane. Some scars we'll never see. She will never be the same. She's a mother, she's a daughter, She's a sister and a friend, standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve, 'cause you can't spell hero without her. On that old dusty base with the meadows that shine, she's been to hell and back for the stars and the stripes. Your Lady Liberty, dressed like G.I. Jane, and some scars we'll never see, and she will never be the same. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend, standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve, 'cause you can't spell hero without her. Yeah, yes. For the ones that didn't make it, we will pause and then we cry. We can still see their smile in every sunrise. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend, standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve, 'cause you can't spell hero without her. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her.
And we are back with Lainie Mingioni talking about her nursing career. And Lauren was going to start us off with our next question.
And then you rudely interrupted me. But okay. I was like, let's not be dramatic about it. So you brought up, being in school during COVID, and I know you were working during it, because I know you didn't take a step back. I know you. But what was during COVID? What do you think the long-term effects have been in nursing for nurses during that time period? Like the initial shock, like the first 8 to 10 months of COVID?
I honestly, and I haven't lived through any other pandemic, but I can tell you it impacted not just nursing, America in general, negatively. 100%. When I ran the ASC, we were shut down. All the elective procedure was shut down for the whole state of Pennsylvania. That's where I ran things, right? And I said, well, what am I going to do? I'm an administrator.
Right.
I'm not working, right? I'm clearly you could use me for something. And if it wasn't for my big loud mouth, I'm telling people this isn't the way it should be done, I swooped in and I got in on one of the check-in desks, okay? And I was like, all right, we'll check people in. I look around, there's trash on the floor, there's this and that. It was nil. These people are just walking. I'm like, oh my God, there's no signs, there's no law and order. So the president of the hospital comes in, I'm like, oh, hey, I'm like, let me tell you, this is a crap show. I said,
I literally
got this. I'm calling them by. No one has a clue. They're just they don't even know how to use a thermometer, because I'm the only nurse there. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, you got some work to do, right? And 2 days later, I'm at the hospital doing a class that I had already signed for. And he texts me or calls me. He's like, are you in the hospital? I need to talk. I'm like, oh crap. I'm in trouble. I'm like, oh yeah, let me finish up. I'll come to the president C-suite. So I'm like, I'm here. And he goes, come on in. Anyway, long short, he's like, I thought about what you said the other day. I'm like, oh God, what did I say? He goes, yeah, you were right. It was a crap show. Things are disorganized. This isn't here. We didn't have supplies. And we got half the people in without a mask. Anyway, He's like, so, you know, the CEO, him, we talked about it. We're like, we're going to appoint you to be in charge of the COVID task. I'm like, you mean the regulations, like the process? He goes, yeah. I said, okay. He goes, yeah, you know, that's like 5 hospitals and 4 or 5 I go, yeah.
Was this Keystone?
And he goes, oh, okay. I said, well, I figured. He goes, I don't care. You don't have to tell me. I don't care what you do. We know you can do it. Just do it.
Nice.
So, of course, me had it done yesterday, made a binder. I reappropriated. So I knew every nook and cranny in that hospital. I was like, so nursing office, you go get supplies are gone. They're missing. I'm like, all right, you guys are like, come on. So I said, nope, we're not doing that. So I knew all the supply people. I'm like, all right, I need you to deliver it to CAT scan in the back dressing room. I'm going to make a sign in and out. You're going to deliver the new supply. You're going to pick up the old bucket. You're going to bring the new, take the old. And then I had all these little tubs made up for each of my entrances with the thermometer, the mass of this. And I made a binder on there, the CDC guidelines, because people didn't know how to take thermometers, like testing, how to know Celsius to Fahrenheit, where to touch, you name it, every IFU necessary, right? I went to every hospital. I trained the people. I talked to the people didn't even have to do anything. I go to all the outpatients. Oh my God, thank you so much for that. How many weeks in? My boss calls me and she goes, oh, she calls me and says, hey, so listen, you got everything underway? Like, we're going to have to furlough you now. I'm like, what? I said, well, I'm not furloughed. How long? And she's like, well, I mean, I guess like a couple of weeks. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. So I go into I even did the drive-through, the process.
I'd have taken my binders back.
Exactly. My ball going home.
That's right. and you know, it's funny because I go into the task force room that we were part of task force. They're like, oh my God, Lainie, blah, blah, blah. They're all in there. We were just saying to the hospital, wow, how amazing she is. Like, what a great job you've done. Oh God, it's like so organized and I said, oh, thanks. Cause I just got furloughed for doing such a great job. Maybe I should suck at what I do or not job, right? Not my character, but now they're like, oh shoot, we need you back. I go, too bad. I already made plans. No, you can't do that. So the work ethic was one way. Now, you know, it's just when people realize one, power and pool of money, that they were getting paid to just sit home and do nothing. I don't want that. I want to do stuff. I want to make a difference. I want to be out there. Right. I'll make my regular salary. That's fine. But that was the first part. People were just getting paid. And it was like, come on, stop already. We were back by the end of May. So 2 months. And then I had to go through, that was a big challenge to go get back running, but because of the infection control and all that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And people were like, you know, I'm getting paid more to stay home. I don't know if I
would. So true.
I don't know if I want to put myself out there in COVID. I don't know enough of it. I feel that. Okay, fine. I get it. It's 2 months in now.
Oh, we're still feeling the ramifications of it though.
5 years later, it's like it just happened.
It's ridiculous.
People call out when I get no. I go, let me tell you, it's nothing more than a cold. It has been so watered down at this point. It's a cold. It's a virus. If you feel it crap, don't come in. If you do, let me ask you this. When we were sick and had the flu, did they ever have, until they did they ever have flu swabs? No, forever. Now all of a sudden we don't have flu, but this new virus we have a COVID swab for?
God forbid you call out for the flu, by the way. Like, I mean, not here. I mean, like, Lainie's my boss, and if you're sick, you're sick. She doesn't want you there. But I mean, at the hospitals, or like, that's, you know, the last 14 years of my life, I've only been with you for 2, you know, so God forbid you call out with the flu. They're like, just come in, you put a mask on, you'll be fine. But COVID, it's like, okay, come on, y'all. a virus is a virus is a virus is a virus.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
Get a grip.
like we should be we're nurses, right? So we have a brain to understand higher level thinking. I mean, you would think, and it's like,
most of us.
it's a virus. You get sick. Do you feel well or don't you? If you don't feel well, like, could I take care of patients all day long and feeling like this?
Is this
Yes
going
or
to
no?
be
Could I
sustainable?
muster through it? Yes or no?
Right.
And well, why should I? Because this is what happened where I hold my policies true to I'm calling you out on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's funny because I think people get so, oh my God, I don't want to say anything because they're going to leave and we don't have staff. So we need to keep staff. Well, what do you have here is by you not being accountable as an administrator and not holding people to the policy. By the way, I rewrote the policy to mimic what we do at the hospital. After 3, you get a verbal, then a written, because it puts people right where they should be. And like, oh, well, now I know. And they know that if they're, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is that people get like, oh, I'm going to walk the line now, where when you don't, they're like, I'll stay home. They say, oh, now all of a sudden that you're
it's a different climate, man. It's so,
it totally
and I imagine other jobs, other careers, other whatever are going through something similar, because you can't show up at anywhere in retail or restaurants and they're not short staffed. And of course, they give you whatever line, but in hospitals, if you say you're short staffed, or for us at the surgery center, you say you're short staffed, and I cannot win today. I keep wanting to drop the F-bomb. I'm tired, America.
I think the personnel, those that have the work ethic, COVID didn't impact. Those that were borderline, they went back the other way.
Well, I mean, Chris was in the hospital knee deep in COVID. You were doing the same thing. My job went remote. I was lucky. I was working as a case manager at that time in Nashville, and it was all social workers, and God forbid you scare a social worker. Okay. They were terrified. They didn't even understand a damn thing about, and they wouldn't listen to me, even though I was the only medical professional on the team. They were like, no, like, everyone go remote. And I'm like, there are kids that need to be checked on, so we're just going to virtually check on them. This does not sound kosher.
No.
But so I mean, I did get lucky in the source of I got to work from home for a lot of it, and I had a baby, so it was nice. I wasn't bringing back any COVID or any crud for that matter to my 4-month-old. But
it was a crazy time. I mean, trying to be, work in, on being on the front lines. And then once things started to open up, like I was working in the schools as well. So I kind of had a 360 view of it. And, I kind of agree with you, Lainie. If you had work ethic, that didn't change, during or after COVID. But if you were on the line or you had, lower standards to begin with, then you just kind of fell into the hole and were like, yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm good to just kind of chill and not do anything. Right. And it made it really hard. To just because we had to carry on and take care of and watch all these people suffer and die. Yeah. We had to be, go home. And, I know in the beginning of the pandemic, I had my car seat, my driver's seat wrapped in a clear plastic shower curtain so that when I got out of the car after a shift, I could just wipe it down, because we didn't know how long the virus was going to live in the, in the cushions.
The beginning was so unknown.
We could wash our clothes and wipe down shoes, but we didn't know about other things. And then you couldn't even get stuff to clean with. And then, for a hot minute, we were heroes and we were trying to educate people and this, that, and the other. And then
got some free pizza.
And then everybody turned on us. And then the vaccine came out, all hell broke loose. And then I was like, all right, now I'm done.
I know. It's also, and I'm in administration, but
Are you though? I think you're on the floor more than you're in your office.
My administrator hat and just keep my nursing hat on and tell you what I see is, when we started reopening, they're like, well, in order to return, everyone has to get COVID tested. Well, we had our center at Britton Lake was a big center between us and surgery. And then the other side of Delaware County had another one in Havertown. Over 300. Well, was I the only one that knew what to do? We don't know what to do. And the administrators just be like, well, sucker, she'll do it because she does everything else, right? So not only, I even forgot about that I did this now that you're bringing it up. I swabbed every single person, doing it the whole wait the 5 minutes. And then it's all about air exchange and your HVAC system, and you can only bring in the next person after the next.
I forgot about all that. Yeah.
Holy moly, right? I'm sweating my butt off, but swabbed every single person, blah, blah, blah. Then I went to the other surgery center, did everybody there. And I wasn't gonna. They're like, oh, so-and-so called out. I'm like, okay, why are you calling me? And that's how it started. They're like, well, you're the only one that knows anything. I'm like, okay, but there's other people you could call at the hospital. Doesn't matter. I went in, did it all, blah, blah. We went up. Now, in order to now have elective procedures, you have to get all the patients COVID tested beforehand within so many hours. Right. Every day was something new. Well, again, my administrator, my boss, and the higher ups, so we don't know what to do. What do you mean you don't know what to do? It's one way in and one way out. It's all infection control. Like, you act like you don't know this stuff. So who's the one that designs the whole entire suite? I have the construction people go, no, we got to exit out this. I made signs, this, that, everything. Now surgeon's like, oh, well, we want that office now. You're going to have to move out of that. Well, and then the person calls out. So now one day me and this other, I'm like, I'm not doing this myself. I had to swab every single pre-patient for surgery and GI. I'm like, I've had enough. No support whatsoever.
Right.
Whatsoever. And so it's like you get, okay, fine, you don't want to work. America will pay you just to sit home. Nothing, be at least purposeful. And then you have the administrator who has no clue, just walks around pointing fingers that this is what you do. And has
just reminds me of government workers at their finest, even though it was just generalized civilian employees.
It just drives me nuts. Like, come on, stop. It's,
right. So how so you've got 29 years, you worked through almost 30, you've worked through a pandemic, both of you, honestly, with your experience and your wisdom, not years experience, and working through a pandemic on top of all the BS that has trickled down since then, right? And let's not forget like the Ebola scare we had back in 2016 or something like that. I don't even, whatever that was, right? And then, so how has nursing changed from when you started? I know how it changed since I started, but when you started to now.
Oh my gosh. So I'll try and sum it up in a small ball. So many facets of nursing, right? We went from paper to electronic. Okay. Now, listen, I'm 51 years old. So I fall on the era of clueless in the computer world. Okay. But it's not listen, Lauren, I told you this before, when the lady kept calling me to take this job back then as the admin, I'm like, I don't know how to use the computer. I was like, I know how to send an email. I don't know how, maybe a Word document. I don't know anything. Oh my God, they're going to see right through me. No, I will learn it. And I was like, all right, well, challenge. I'm going to challenge myself and I will learn it. And I knew a lot of people, so I'd be like, hey, while I'm on the phone, can you help me with, how do I do this? Blah, 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 blah. And now I got a spreadsheet for that. Like,
for everything.
Because I'm a very data-driven person and I love numbers and data. So I got a spreadsheet for that. So anyway, computers, I just, and no offense to the younger generation, it's just, I didn't get into nursing because of the money. Right. I got into, in fact, I was an engineering major my first year in college.
Wow.
Oh,
interesting.
And went down to my advisor. I said, I want to be environmental, circa 1992. I want to be environmental engineer. Well, we don't have that. You'll have to be a civil engineer. And then you could take a few classes. I'm like, civil? No, maybe I should have been, but I hate driving over bridges. I'm not designing them. I'm not driving over them. I'm like, nope. I've always been wanted to be a nutritionist, a fitness and nutrition. My mom's like, nah, you can't, there's no money in that. You got to do something that's going to sustain you. this is like old school thinking. I was like, well, I mean, you know, and then, you know, I went to college after my freshman year. I was like, you know what? I've always been into health and all that. And the truth is I had major back surgery when I was 17, and I went through a big life change. And I said, you know, it kind of made me, between everything that I love to do, want to give back in that way. So you do it for the right reasons. I just feel like, everyone's on their phone. Like, let's go. Your patient's call bell's on. Like, you're at work, okay? Like, you have to be in it for the right reason. I have so many younger, it's like, God, I got it. Yeah, let's go. And I feel like, because it used to be, here's the older nurse, back in the day, here's the younger nurse. We have no computers. We hold the knowledge, the experience, the everything, right? Now, computers are starting to come in, right? Computers are starting to come in. Now, as this person, the young one, starts learning more, it's starting to shift a little like this, until the older ones can say, like myself, like, hey, I'm up here with you. I'm here. That is what I have seen. And they feel like they have somewhat of the upper hand. And I do see some of the older nurses, not my areas, but where I worked before, like, hey, you know more. Just because you don't know the computer, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. Let me teach you. You know, I think when we went live into one, I had some older nurses, and one was like, I'm like, you can do this. You can do this. You're a great nurse. I have full faith. Rome was not built in a day. I will help you. We will get through it step by step. Just get a process in your head. Do whatever. And now it was like it never happened, you know? But that's where I see, I hate to say bring the H card, but I just, I don't know. When I think as a nurse, we were all like, I wanted to learn from, and you know, you were the pecking order. Now it just seems like they don't.
A pecking order, right?
It's like, yeah, whatever. You're my boss. Like, you know, I don't care.
Right. I will say, I think there's more entitlement from the younger nurses. Like, I mean, so you guys are pushing 30 years. I'm closer to like, I'm at 16, so I'm closer to 20. You know what I mean? But I'm seeing way more entitlement and way more emotional instability with the younger nurses. I'm like, did you have your counseling session yet this week? Because maybe you should have. And like, but the phone is another thing. Like, I mean, Lainie already knows I have my phone with me. Number one, I have a nanny, and I have 2 young kids. They matter most if there's an emergency. And she already knows, like, you know, I'm going to be the one that I'll finish my IV and then I'll step out. But I've seen CRNAs even just walking through the hallways on their phone. I'm like, are you coming out into patient care doing that? Right. Because you look so unenthused and unamused to even be here that patients are like, hi. Like, they, you know,
and I'll tell you a funny story. I had an infection control person right at the hospital. So at the hospital, you have infection control, safety, and quality and all that. Right. But as an outpatient, even though it's part of the hospital, you have to apparently do it all, right? So, but they kind of help segue. And I remember when she come in, I go, oh, here she comes. She's got paint chips and this and that and that. I go, then why don't you paint it? I don't have time for this. Get facilities, right? Blah, blah, blah. And then I said, stop being like that. You don't really know. Learn, just learn. Maybe you can learn something from it. So I shut my mouth. I took a better road, and little by little, I'm like, all right, I can see her point. I get your point. I said, I totally get it. Another sort of like, oh my God, she's coming. I can't stand her. I'm like, listen, and I told her one day, I said, I would hate to have your job because no one likes when they see you. Like, it's like, oh, here she comes, because that's the nature of the job. You are not there to tell people what they do right. You're there to tell them what's wrong. So when the state comes in or whatever, right? You should always be state ready. So we kind of grew like whatever. And she had said to me, I got to tell you, you're the only one that really like gets it. Like when I would say instead of being defensive, like, no, well, that's how we always said it. Like, yeah, you're right. Let's write up a process of this or that. And one day, and this is the part of, I feel that this is why people get away with what they do, because we don't have enough people that tell people like it is. And like it is what it is. I was walking in the hospital one day, and out from the GI or whatever, a resident room or something, our unit comes a resident with a blue gown on. And I'm walking by, and I didn't know she was behind me, right? I go, hey, where are you going with that? And they go like, I go, yeah, where are you going with that blue gown on? Take it off, go wash your hands, and now you can leave the unit. They're like, I go, you heard what I said. That is an infection control. Go back.
Yeah.
So I heard, she goes, oh my gosh, you just did not. You are my hero. I turn around, I'm like, oh my God. And she goes, I could never do that. I'm like, Kathy, you are the infection control person. You absolutely can. But I've never, look, it's not being rude. It's calling it like it is.
No, it's not being rude.
Hey, put your phone down. Patients don't want to see that. Hey,
I don't even want to see it when I'm at a drive-through, like
right.
Panera Bread or at the Target, and the ear pods are in it, and they're on their phone. I'm like, are you kidding me?
You know what? I'm sorry. Am I too much of a bother for you?
Am I bothering you?
You know,
From
your
job.
It's all
my fault.
This newer COVID entitlement of, you know what? They need people to work, so I'm going to work and do what I want.
Well, I think
if they lose me, they're at Schitt's Creek. You know.
I think that's it. I mean, and Kristen and I have discussed this, and I think the nurses that COVID put out, I mean, the doctors that's a whole other skit, but the nurses that COVID put out, I don't have pleasant words because the experience I've had with them, there are some really good ones. I'm not gonna lie. I've actually worked with 2 or 3. One of them actually we work with now, and she was on the show, Jenna.
Oh yeah.
She has a great work ethic to the point where like homegirl should have been at work one day. But she, you know, that's a work ethic thing though. That's not, COVID didn't put her out. She just happened to be at school during that time. But there's this like, and she's older than the generation I'm talking about, but it's just, it makes me feel like Nurse Ratched dealing with them. And it makes me feel like the 50-year-old that used to eat their young when you came in as a nurse. Cause I know I had to get like indoctrinated into each job. They're like, you could be my daughter. Well, bitch, I'm not. I'm your peer.
I'm your coworker.
Right. Here's the other thing. I remember again, cause I got laid off from Crozier for doing such a wonderful job. But anyway, I'm joking.
We're doing such a great job. Don't do it again.
So again, it doesn't, I unapologetically am who I am, and I can't be someone different. And I'm all about what's right. What's right is, why are we here? We're here to take care of patients that are very sick. We're here to take my area that, you know, need to get this, need to get that. You are there. You need to help them. We do this every day. They don't. You need to be supported and make their experience an experience.
And the ones in the hospital don't get to go home at the end of their shift. No. This is the next however many days for that.
And I don't care who, what, this, but I can say this, and this is my own viewpoint. I am the ultimate team player. I will do whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't go, I'm an administrator. I can't do that. I don't do that.
No, you don't.
I do what's necessary for my team, for my nurses, and for the patient, right? And I remember working in all different areas going like, yo, you're going to work anytime soon? Or am I going to have to take care of your patients too? Like when I worked in the ER. I remember when I worked in the hospital, I'm running all GI and I'm going like this and anesthesia. I'm like, yo, in the room now. Your start time was 6:55. Let's go. You are an adult. Have some accountability. What, you got to wait for somebody to tell you what to do?
So I will say that.
It's shift work. They're like, oh, well, when my next person comes in, you know.
Yeah. And leadership, I think I can't speak for 30 years ago, but my personal experience with leadership has been shit. I've had nurse managers that weren't even nurses. They were case managers. And I'm like, what? I've had nurse managers that have told me when I worked at the VA, she was like, I'm never going to help you, but I will point and tell you what should be being done. I'm like, excuse me?
That's great leadership.
But,
I love
it.
But like I've had
agent.
I've had amazing leadership in the military. And when I came into this organization that Lainie's in, I see Lainie on the floor more than I see Lainie in the office. And if I see Lainie in the office, it's probably because she's trying to hydrate herself before she drops on the floor. So like the fact that there is, and I'm hoping to God you're not the only one in America that's a nurse manager like this, but I've worked in like 5 or 6 states and it's rare because once people hit this spot, they just, I don't know if they change or their true colors come to life. but
sorry, go ahead.
no, go.
I was going to say, I think part of it is, we're nurses, so they don't really teach us to be leaders, so to speak. And you and I have the benefit, Lauren, of having been in the service, and
so is Lainie.
And awesome. See, and I think that's probably a big part of it. If you come from the military, you're there's a very clear chain of command. The expectations are clear. We not only are we put into leadership roles and tested, but we are also given leadership courses. We're given opportunities to develop as leaders, and we're mentored for the most part.
Yes.
So, and I think that's a huge piece that's missing from nursing leadership in general. Because I think
1,000%.
we've had some of my best managers and leaders have been in the military, and I've had a couple good ones in the civilian side of nursing, but not a lot. And that's why it's incumbent upon the three of us who are bringing our leadership experience to the table to model and mentor those around us, whether we're in official leadership capacities or not, is to model the behavior that we need to see. Because otherwise,
you're right.
Help us.
You're right. And it doesn't matter, so when people say, oh, my boss, I'm like, I'm not your boss. I don't like that word. And if you read books, and I always say that, and then I came across a book, are you a boss or a leader? And a boss indicates you don't do shit. And the leader's always
There's a very big difference.
Right?
Absolutely, 100%.
And people used to say, oh, you should really be in charge of it. I'm like, I'm not a yes person. But then I also want change, and I want to create the environment I want to work in. So, I'm still a nurse's nurse, and I, do what is necessary, but I'm also not afraid to say, I don't think that's going to work because of my experience and because of what I see. No, that takes too much time. But I'm also like, oh, that's a good idea. I leave my nurses to say, hey, you have an idea? If you're doing something, hey, I was thinking, because I'm doing this, it seems like maybe it would be better if I move this here versus that. Oh yeah, you know what? That does make sense. And you just can't stop thinking. You can't stop okay, it's done, it's set. Because every time you make one little change, changes occurring around you. I never had a good manager, a great manager. I had managers that always asked me for help. So I basically was doing a lot of, guess what? Whatever, I don't care. All I know is I could lay my head on my pillow at night and know that I did the best I could for the day to help everybody. And the truth is, you have to be a leader, you have to be selfless. Was it you I was saying the other day? There's a book, it's called Leaders Eat Last.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah. And
great book.
The ethic is, and the theory is you can't think of yourself. When you're like a commander, you're in charge, that's the thing. Exactly, you got troops, blah, 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 have to take care of. And I would say that working in the ER, if you weren't in the military, but you're
similar as battlefield.
It's a very similar, it's a battlefield. It's like, who do I take care of first? What do I need to, blah, blah, bold statements. I need this, I need a drip. I call it respiratory. It's quick thinking. And I will tell you, that's one of the reasons why I stopped working in the ER. I loved working in the ER. I loved to troubleshoot. I knew exactly, hey, oh, don't worry. Can you see this patient? Oh my God. And then I already, the vent's coming, ABG's done already, had it rolling. Let's go. I already have the cortisone drip. So I love that part. But then it started getting very prescriptive. Oh, patient comes in. Oh, just use this preemptive treatment guideline. I go, so what? We're teaching people not to think? Because doctors can't be there as soon as each patient rolls through that door. And I feel like here's where business comes in. Hey, how can we get them in and out quicker? Treat them and treat them. Let's go. This is why on the floor, you're not cleaning them. You're not this, because they want to do admissions in less than 48 hours. It's boom, boom, boom.
It's a business.
And let's pray and cross our fingers they don't readmit in 30 days. Or you're not getting reimbursed.
Exactly.
The business game they play, because they think that, so back to leadership, my one boss used to say, how come whatever, doesn't know. I go, what do you think that just because people are great nurses, they make great leaders? Do you think most nurses have a business mind? Like they're like, oh, I'm not going to use that because that costs money. They don't care. It's not their money.
Right.
I care because that's who I am. And I said, and no, I'm not helping you teach everybody because I got a job I got to do. Like, you teach them. Because she said, well, maybe you could. I go, no. You either got it or you don't. If you want to know, go take a class. I said, the hospital should offer these managers classes, mentor them, teach them.
Absolutely.
You know,
and I think
nursing, it's your profit, right?
Yeah. Nursing has turned into a task game, a click here, a point there. This is the script we're going off of. And I was going to say, and a business. And I think a lot of what falls through the water is the patient, number one, but also the fact that nurses are being beaten up verbally and physically by patients that all of a sudden have some audacity on them because COVID changed them too. I mean, they were like this before.
And what happened with COVID, I don't mean to interrupt, is everything's become even more and more about value-based care. And so they're more and more, how was your thing? Did you feel that you got this? So now providers are only being reimbursed based on a patient's opinion of what value they put to their care, which I said, come on, there's got to be a metric for.
Yeah, it's a problem.
You know, and you can't do that.
Right, because we're people too. And like the fact that they can talk, I mean, like, I will say the one thing about Lainie's leadership tactic is that people aren't coming in disrespecting us, harassing us, hitting us, verbally abusing us. Like, that is something that isn't happening. And
there's no amount of money that I'm going to let them to get that they're going to treat us like that.
And if it starts, Lainie steps in so that the nurse isn't the one being berated, belittled, whatever. But as a whole, yeah. And it's like a turtle shell. She's absorbing all the blows in the back, right? But I feel like there's just not enough. There's not enough of like leaders in those nursing roles, and doctors are still mistaking the fact, thinking that they're our boss. And that's another thing. It's like, well, does the doctor know you're doing this? Well, I don't give a shit if the doctor knows I'm doing this. That's not my boss. My director said X, Y, and Z. That's who the nurse is, my boss. And I think there's so much miseducation and misunderstandings between a lay person and us, which is normal, but the audacity falls in the middle where they think they know more than they do. And it's like,
the doctor goes in, they do their thing, la, 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 and they leave. And we're left free and the post math of it all. Well, we have all these questions. And I'm like, so we're constantly covering for and, you know, helping the patient, which of course we want to, right? Like, they may have a lot of questions, but should have asked them when you were in the room with them. It's like,
now I have to decipher.
To like ask the doctor. Then it's like, ah! I'm like, okay, wait, one question at a time, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, you have to learn how to be neutral. Patients, I tried calling. I'm like, I'm going to apologize for the office that you tried calling. I'm glad you got me. What can I do to help you? Well, I'm going to prep it. Let's take it step by step. Okay. And now you're going to do this and you're going to call. And then if you don't get that, call me back. And then we'll go to the next step. And okay. All right. Just talk them down.
You're also a therapist while being a nurse.
Yes.
Which is
not
something we're also we're trained on properly. It's like, I need help too. My therapist is waiting for me because I'm dealing with you.
I think the bottom line with nursing is, I just said this today. I'm like, I don't think in 30 years, I've lived in fight or flight every single day I go to work. And it's not a good thing to feel and to be. Because ask Lauren, Lane. I'm gonna change my name. I'm gonna wear a wig and no one's gonna know it's me. I empower people to learn, but think for themselves. You're good. Have confidence in yourself.
Well, we have just about run out of time. Lainie, thank you so much for
Thank you so much, girls, for having me.
Thank you for bringing your energy to the show this evening. And stay tuned for season 4 next season, everybody. For the Dog Tag Diva, I'm here to remind you to greet each day with purpose, passion, and tenacity, and be kind to each other.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.